She's also a little bit on my shit list, by the way. Personal information. Side note, I sent her a pretty extreme text, and she did not text me back. The first text she responded to was me getting Ted Daniel. So you think about that for a second. Me getting Ted Daniel and doing a live stream. See, there she is. I don't want to fight before this interview, so I'm not going to fight before the interview. I'm not going to fight.
What are we fighting about?
Maybe a couple important text messages that I sent to you that you did not respond to. I don't know.
David, this is an offline conversation. Get it offline.
But do I have the right to be angry at you right now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Okay, we can't even fight anymore. That's good. Okay, so
you're right. I'm wrong. Corgi bums.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Before we get Ted Daniel on 2 seconds, you saw the text. You chose not to respond to the text because you have bad news.
I have bad news.
Okay, bad news is fine. Don't be scared to send bad news. Did you literally avoid to send the text because of bad news?
No, I tried to rearrange flights, but I can't. Yeah.
I was in a pause mode right there for effect. What? You're not rearranging flights for something.
I was trying.
Oh my God, you are the worst.
I am.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Okay, let me. Let's see here. 12:29. By the way, did you just see Ted Daniel's tweet?
Yes, that's what I was writing down. Like I wrote this down because this is.
Let's not. This is impromptu. This is like news is happening. We're getting you. This isn't like. First of all, we did an emoji circus for you. Unbelievable, Sean, last night. Emoji Circus was unbelievable before you got here, and it was all for you. So first and foremost, it was a great broadcast. This is not a long-form interview with Ted Daniel. We're getting him for 5 or 10 minutes. That's not because of him. That's because of me. I said, can we steal you for 5 minutes before we go live? We both got shit to do today. He's got more shit to do, and we're just getting the live information, the live news for the people on TikTok exclusively until we rebroadcast it on YouTube. All right, let me call this character and see what we got. Tell me if you can hear the ringing in a second. You got it. That's all that matters.
This is Ted.
Hey, Ted. This is Dave Cannone. How are you?
I'm good, bud. How you doing?
Good. Thank you. I got Nurse Kim here is on the line with me as well. So Nurse Kim is with us. Yes. So we'll hop right into it. Today's ruling, I kind of feel like myself and the internet expected what we were going to see today. You're a journalist. You might play it the right way here, but what were your expectations here when you got back that the ruling on the motion to dismiss was denied this morning?
Yeah, like you, I was not surprised just based on what, a number of attorneys had told me that the case law was really on the side of the prosecution, that essentially the precedent did not support the defense's argument of a double jeopardy violation, and that, it appeared that the Judge Cannone was going to rule this way. And especially in even, one of the recent retrial hearings when she was kind of moving ahead with setting dates and saying, I know there's going to be an appeal. And that's what's going to happen on this one. My understanding is that if it goes to a higher court, the higher court is really going to have to kind of look at changing the law or the law itself for this type of argument to be credited, to be valid.
That makes sense. Kim, you got a question?
I did. So, Ted, thank you so much for joining us for a second. I know you're so busy, but I just saw your tweet about your request for the documents of financial expenditures as it relates to the Commonwealth in the case of Karen Reed. And I wanted to have your take on the fact that the record of expenditures that are unable to be disclosed due to the confidential investigation strategies in an ongoing investigation. What does that scream to you?
Well, I just kind of want to know what that means. Like, what expenses would those be? So essentially, in their response, the DA's office said, we're not going to give you like an itemization of what, our attorneys or police, what the salaries are and the time on that. And I get that, right? Because it's not like a private law firm where you have billable hours. They just work on cases. So I get the fact that they're saying, well, these guys, their salaries don't change. But I'm just wondering, what is there? So what are these confidential techniques or things that they may have spent money on? That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, what could that be?
Right. And we've heard rumblings of kind of some, and you've seen it too on the internet, right? Some crazy things where they're like, I don't know. I've given a lot of grief to the state of Massachusetts for what I call is enabling internet psychopaths. Like it's one thing to send emails and texts to Ted Daniel, who's been in this business for however long, 20 plus years or whatever you've been in it, Ted, and you're credible and you're first to many of the things that goes on in this state. It's another thing to be bragging about the fact that like some person on Twitter has X amount of followers and we're seeing people FOIA though. Like we're seeing that because people FOIA that. You get what I'm saying? Like they're enabling internet weirdness, which is also why I blame them for a lot of this chaos that's ensued around this case, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough, it's interesting, right? I think this is from a public relations standpoint, this could be a case study because, typically prosecutors are very buttoned up. Typically you don't get a lot of information pre-trial. They're not going to go on the courthouse steps, at least in Massachusetts. I mean, sometimes I'm sure you've seen videos of like sheriffs in, Florida who are like, showing the guy's picture and like, hey, we just arrested this guy. He did this. We're not allowing this on our street. Well, that doesn't happen here in Massachusetts. And from a public relations standpoint, the defense has, done an amazing job of sort of, getting people on their side and putting out, the things that they want to be in the public.
Right. Right. But to your point about expenses, like we've heard rumors that like one of the lead investigators flew to California to investigate this, hypothetical random connection, a connection that never came up during the trial whatsoever. So what was the expense that was associated with that? We've heard of surveillance on Karen Reed's home. So I do wonder, that's probably some of the stuff that was not included in the report that you requested, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah. I know they did poll cameras for the protest.
Right.
And they had, I saw that in one of the documents. I think that obviously that relates to Aiden Carney's case, but so that might be some of the things, whether or not, a poll camera is a line item that they would expense. I don't know.
Right.
Ted, has there been anything that you have seen in the documents that you've been able to go through? What is the most interesting line item you've seen besides, I think it's interesting about definitely with the protests, but anything else that has raised your eyebrows?
No, it's all pretty standard. I mean, they flew some of these witnesses in and it doesn't look like they were giving them any special treatment. They put one up at the Holiday Inn right across from our station, and they normal flights on Delta that they came in. And it's, it when you look at it, and how long this trial was and how much it's just in the public discussion, there's not there's only like 6 or 7 different documents that we got with expenses. So, it looks like that, at least from what they're telling us publicly, there wasn't, it's like the people you expected, how, the Bodie Labs charged them for the work that they did. The lab out in UCLA Davis that did the swab, that tested the swab for dog DNA. It's all that kind of stuff. And none of the expenses that I saw were exorbitant or seemed to be out of the ordinary. And my question is just the other stuff, like what's there and
right.
So they're using the privacy exemption, the investigative exemption, which law enforcement often uses when they deny public records requests. So will we get to see that? I'm interested, I'm obviously going to file when the second trial ends. Will I get to see then what the other expenses were? Because, if there's a verdict on the second trial, it's over, right? So there's no more investigation. So will they give that stuff up then?
What are we hearing back to today's news? What are we hearing from both camps, post the ruling this morning, both the DA's office, and then are you hearing anything from Karen Reed's camp about it?
Yeah, no, I spoke to David Unetti briefly. He, he was just getting the decision when I spoke with him, and he did not comment to me. I saw that Christina Rex spoke with Marty Weinberg, who says they will appeal.
Yep.
The DA's office essentially released a brief statement that said, hey, this is the judge's decision is based on 200 years of case law, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
That essentially a one-liner there, and I think that was probably the appropriate statement to make because, as I was just speaking to, one of our legal experts who said, although you may be sitting at home going like, what the heck? Like, if these jurors really did acquit her, it doesn't make sense or it's not fair to retry her. But this is one case. Usually the law is pretty. I feel like it's pretty honest in terms of and pretty logical. But in this case, you can make an argument that maybe it's not super logical because if you really did have this decision. I'm just curious why the jury never wrote. When you look at their notes that they sent to Judge Cannone, they never said, "Hey, we're at an impasse on 1 out of 3 charges." They said we're at an impasse. So it seems that the jury could have come back and said, "Hey, we've kind of locked down a couple of these charges, but we're still stuck on one." That never happened. So that gives credence to Judge Cannone's ruling that, hey, this thing was, we didn't know this, and the defense had an opportunity to object at the time. And she even wrote something like, I'm reading the document now, she goes, significantly, defense counsel were no shrinking violence. Essentially saying, hey, you guys came out on other stuff, you didn't come out on this.
Right.
So that's her rationale for ruling the way that she did.
But we saw too, like, part of me is, and this is where I go back to the opinion side of it too, is like, one, this was not a flawless process on anybody's part, including the judge. Like, you had to lobby to get that jury slip changed, basically, which is pretty freaking important if you ask me. That everybody involved is at fault in the confusion around the jury, that you would think in a situation like this where a motion is filed to dismiss, because we borderline, it's as damn near close to a certainty at this point that we know that 2 of the charges were unanimously voted on. You would think like the DA's office would look at that and say, well, my job as working for the state is to pursue justice. And justice, in my opinion, is basically listening to the 12 people who do not think that this defendant intended to do something. It doesn't feel like they're thinking like that, though. It doesn't feel like anyone's taking any type of ownership that there was at least confusion. And what the end-all process here needs to be is justice. Like, nobody's taking the reins on that one, if you ask me.
No, I don't think. No, the prosecution will never concede on this one. I think this has become personal. It's a pissing match, and I think that some will say that the defense poked the bear, and that the prosecution is just like, nope. We're going in on this, and this is the way it's going to be,
Yeah.
And but if I'm a defendant in a situation as Karen reads in, I'd want the defense to do all these things.
Yep, that's true.
100%. Finally, I just wanted to ask you, Ted, do you have a total on that? A rough total on what that account expenditures were for the Commonwealth, or no?
We're working on that now. I'm writing my, it's, of course, that gets dropped on me 1 hour after the motion to dismiss on a Friday.
I know.
And so I have one other person who's kind of helping me go through that. I'm writing my other story now on the motion to dismiss for TV on Boston 25, and then I'm going to start tackling the numbers. But like I said, just a cursory, look at some of those. I didn't see anything that screamed like, oh, that's really strange. It was pretty standard stuff. That these witnesses do get paid. They do get their travel and their expenses, and that's my understanding. That's pretty normal.
My last question for you, Ted, and we'll let you go. I know you're busy. Is now that there's kind of a little bit of a lull in this case, are you hearing more and more rumblings about some of the federal investigation side that you were first to report here locally, at least? Is some of that momentum starting to build a little bit?
I mean, I hear it and I see it from people who are adamant that, that the federal investigation is ongoing and that something's going to happen. My understanding was that when they decided to release all that documentation from their investigation, that they had wrapped things up. And as I told others on this, I'm not going to die on this hill.
Yep.
Because, someone can surprise me, but it was my understanding that they found a lot of things that were helpful to the defense, including like Proctor's text, but they didn't find anything criminal in the federal investigation. So that's what I've heard, and I haven't heard any more rumblings other than, you know, what I've seen on social media from people who may have better sources than I do, you know?
Well, I doubt that, Ted, because you've been around for a long time, and you were first to report this story.
That's not us, Ted. Shouldn't show up.
Right, you were way early on this story too. You probably, even before you reported it, because you don't know this about me, but I produced a podcast about Sandra Birchmore, same office, for Barstool Sports, and we had heard about rumblings in Canton. I think the first blog Turtle Boy wrote was in April. We heard it in October or November. Before that, it wasn't something we were pivoting to. So right. I'm happy Turtle Boy ended up getting it too. But had heard rumblings too and knew this one was going to explode early?
Mostly from people, you know, connected with. I've known David Yannetti for a long time, and he mentioned a couple times to me, "Hey, just keep an eye on," you know, at the outset. "Hey, just keep an eye on this case. Like it's gonna blow up." Like, and you know, that was that. But we didn't have anything substantial. He wasn't giving anything up in terms of what that was until I think it was April 13th when they filed the motion based on the Google search, the "How Long to Die in Cold" Google search. That kind of was when everything really changed in this story. Stuff just started coming out after that.
Yep. All right. Well, Ted, thank you for your time. First of all, you've done an unbelievable job. Like, must follow, go-to person, go-to watch on the news from Boston 25. You've been fantastic. So thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Boston
legend. Thanks so much, guys.
All right, Ted.
Take care.
All right. That was Ted Daniel, Boston 25. That, my friends, let me tell you something. That was the hardest I have ever had to work on one of these TikTok lives, to pretend that we're serious people. That was
you were serious people.
That was serious. That was a good interview right there. Now, if you were going to be critical, because that's what Kimbo over here going straight to the money, following the money train. Kimbo you wouldn't even play ball with the ruling today. I asked one question.
Give me the money.
Wow, that was impressive by you. But he's phenomenal. He deserves. I think we talk about this. Let me just make sure. You still got me, Kim?
Yes.
I want to make sure I'm not putting down the right thing. Wrong thing. He deserves a lot of credit because, you know, we always say, and just like Turtle Boy deserves credit, Turtle Boy was the first to start reporting this. Don't get me wrong. But to get to a point where you're reporting something on a mainstream level, working for a mainstream media news outlet, it has to reach a really high bar. And Ted Daniel fought for this story, in my opinion, to get it very early before a lot of the other outlets did. I know, like Christina Rex, God bless you there. Why don't you do more interviews with Paul O'Keefe? I'm sure you're a nice person. But
she got his statement, you know?
Totally fine. And I appreciate seeing that tweet first from her today, and she's got sources too. She wasn't there when Ted Daniel was there. So I'm just telling you, Ted Daniel was there months before other local media reporters there, because he's tapped into the shit. He's fantastic. He did give us a little bit. I mean, he's got great sources. I believe your guest last night has some unbelievable sources too. He seems to be down on the federal investigation, where your guest yesterday is up. Yeah, but he's like, you know, people are going to be probably a little bit tighter lipped with him, because he could go on the news and set up a firestorm, right?
Yeah.
You know, so, but I thought he was good. That was a good interview.
It was incredible. And you know what? Here's what happens is Dave Cullinane is the man. This man, you know, he's getting us interviews. We're on with Ted Daniels. He's saying, are we streaming on what platform? What would I do without a David Cullinane?
Today I was telling them before you got here, it was chaos. It was chaos. My brain was like, I got to be on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook all at the same time. We got to do it before 12:30 when Ted gets on. So I'm texting you, do this for me, do that. I'm like, and then at the end of the day, it just wasn't going to work out. TikTok, to me, is the first priority. They are home base, all aspects. So you got to get the interviews like that. But what do you want to do? How long do you have?
I got about another 10.
You got 10? Do you want to try to fire up the phone lines quickly?
Let's do it.
All right. Let me, I'm going to set this up. And what was your biggest, I'll tee you up for 1 second. What was your biggest takeaways from Sean last night? He had some unbelievable information that I've since forgotten, but he provided you a lot of exclusives.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, listen, Sean McDonough, you know, I respect him. I think he is just like he's had an incredible career. He is, in my opinion, an American hero. He received like awards from the DEA, from Westfield State. He's been inducted into their Hall of Fame. Sean is like all in, right? And I think that he shared with us a letter that I thought was pretty powerful. Okay. And it was, I feel as though it was a direct kind of call to anyone else who may be a current Boston police officer or retired Boston police officer, anyone who feels like they're brave enough to want to speak to anybody, that we would speak, you know what I mean? That like, we'd be happy to talk to them about anything, that if they want to come forward, we're here, you know, so that they don't have to, because we know that there's a lot of people, right, you know, that are afraid of a lot of things, Dave, like that there are people that just, you know, for their families, for their careers, for retaliation, nobody, like, hey, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But if you do want to touch it, and if you are able, or if you have something that you think potentially you would like to share with us, we're all here for it. And that person shared with Sean, and Sean got emotional over it. It made me emotional seeing him, you know, hear the change in his voice. And, you know, he's a force to be reckoned with. I think he is absolutely dialed in. He has sources. He is accurate. Remember when I tell you this, that Sean McDonough was the first to say Karen Reed was acquitted of second degree. Sean McDonough, first person. Yep,
100%. I can't find an image with the phone number, so if you guys want to write this down, 978.
Oh, where's my phone?
755 4555. So
it's just our number.
I know. If you guys don't remember it, you guys should save it. I got somebody.
Leave our phone number.
Thank
people.
you to 716 who somehow saved the number. That you are a rock star.
Dave Kim. Put it in your phone.
716. You should put that in your phone. 716. What's going on?
Hello, I'm from Ireland. And hello.
We're Megs.
Megs. Wow, Megs with the guy. I like Meg's bits. That might be a recurring theme of the show. A new bit from Megs.
What is this?
Wait, is your refrigerator running?
It's a dishwasher.
Or your dishwasher?
My dishwasher. Yes, and I had to put.
Dishwasher running?
Yeah, I had to do new settings. It actually, you know what? I don't know if anyone has a new dishwasher out there, but it seems like the whole process is longer now than the older ones. Like when I select the setting, it's like it won't be done for 2.5 hours. I'm like, what? My 10-year-old
overnight. You don't do your dishes overnight?
Yeah, but 2 hours is a long time. My 10-year-old one was doing it in like an hour 15 or something like that. So I'm a little shocked here, Megs.
I'll take a 78 Kenmore, bitch. Okay,
right. That's what I'm talking about.
Anytime.
Right, old school. All right, Megs, what do you think about journalism? Journalism on fire, right there, by the way.
Oh, that was fantastic, and that was so serious. I love that. Yeah, I love that so much.
Okay. All right.
You guys are crushing it.
All right. What else is going on?
But I didn't finish. So you said your dishwasher was running?
That's this TikTok live. It's more important to figure out the dishwasher situation. Yes, it's running, Megs. My dishwasher is working.
Okay, you better go catch it. You better go catch
Oh,
it.
you better go
Megs. I love it, Megs. You're the best. Oh, she hung up as soon as she said it. That's awesome.
She dad joked.
That was unbelievable.
Okay, that's hilarious.
781, you're talking to the two best journalists on this story. How are you? Hello? Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
This is my first time doing this. I'm on? Okay.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to say I missed Ted Daniels. Are you guys putting that on YouTube later?
Yeah, I'll download it and put it on YouTube. Yes, he was great.
Okay, because I was an idiot waiting on YouTube.
No, I was a dummy. I made it and then I deleted it because I had to put it here first. So yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I just want to say my favorite video of yours is probably Trooper Paul in the crime scene.
Which one? Mine or Kim's? I don't even know.
Dave.
Oh, I don't remember. What did I do?
The crime scene talks to him.
Oh, yes. I thought that was good.
Eyes in the snow.
I know. I thought that would blow up a little bit more. That didn't go as far and wide as I was hoping. I thought that was funny, but I don't know.
Really? I told that one to everybody. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I think you got to go take care of your kid, though. I appreciate the call, but I think somebody wants your
Oh,
attention.
he's bouncing.
Yeah, he's having
Yeah,
fun.
he's bouncing.
I miss those days, Kim.
Yeah, all right.
I do miss those days of like
Why?
the
Your kid's older?
Is he? Yes. Is he on one of those things that's like hanging from the ceiling?
No, he's on his crib mattress. He bounces. He
Oh.
stands and bounces.
Okay.
He's wild.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it. I could do. It could get ugly. I just told my wife the other day that I'm having the itch for a baby number 3, but she's not having it.
God.
Yeah, I'm in baby fever. I'm in baby fever at the moment.
Oh,
She won't do it. She won't do it. You have 2, right?
Yeah, I would never.
I know
would
2.
Never.
You can't go. 2 is perfect. Everyone does 2 now, but God, they're so mean to me now that it's like I wouldn't mind having something next to me that's nice.
Babe, wait till they get to be 14 and 15 like mine. Okay?
It's just only getting worse. They're just so mean to me at times. And I can't handle it anymore. All right, you gotta go. I gotta go here too. Anyway, we'll rebroadcast this on YouTube. Thanks for doing this quick, Kim, because I know you were tied up.
Excuse me. Thank you to the MVP of this show.
Stop the madness.
Is Dave Cullinane.
Stop the madness. We'll talk
talk
offline about the thing that you're nervous
Yes.
to say that you should never switch flights. Sorry, that's crazy talk. That's just insane.
I was trying to. That's why I didn't answer you.
Right, but I'm a little nervous about that whole thing anyway, and I told him that. I don't know.
That's dumb. It's happening. I just gotta wait till I get back. Okay.
Aren't you awkward with that stuff too? Like
No, fuck no.
Yeah, but
I'm in. I'm 10 toes in.
But like meetings have to have a purpose. Like I'd rather be.
Purpose.
Yeah, for
Facts
us.
matter. Journalism.
Right. Yeah. Okay. If that's what the other side is.
We just interviewed Ted Daniels. Don't tell me.
We're on a heater. We're on a heater right now. You're right. Now we're on a heater. You're right. We're on a heater. All right. You go. Goodbye. I'll say goodbye to these people.
Bye.
All right. So that was fun. Hopefully we can get more people. Yeah, now my chat left when she left like that. Let me swipe over. Gifter badge? All right. Yes, that's the perfect. Yeah, we're alluding to a meeting. Oh, good. Mist was in meeting. Oh, good? Why are you happy about that, Patrice? All right, we'll come back. I meant to ask Kim before she left. I think I heard her tease that she's on YouTube tomorrow afternoon, I think. So go check that out. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel. Where are you guys going? We're going back. I got a recording I have to go into, and she has her day job. So, can you tell what the secret? I mean, you can kind of, Amy. Come on, I can't answer that question. I can't answer these things, Amy. Everybody who sees Amy's comment, that's just a question that I cannot answer right now. But Kim thinking that she should move whatever she's flying for whatever question Amy's alluding to, that's just a little crazy. I mean, we don't have to do anything like that. Is she trying to? I can't answer that question. I just can't. It's just a question I can't answer. Have a great weekend, everybody. Says Nani. I agree with that sentiment. What else? Yeah, I guess I got nothing else. I'll see you when I see you. I think if we can pop up with these random lives, we'll do it. I will download this. TikTok's slow as hell, so if you missed some of it and you're here right now, we'll put it on our YouTube channel, Nurse Kim Dave Live. Amy, I can't confirm if that's a yes or no. It's just something I can't address. You're the MVP, Dave. JA, I appreciate that. If you want to give me emoji circus, I won't stop you. Yeah, that meeting is just something I can't confirm at this moment. I don't even know potentially who the person you think the meeting is with or not. It's just a thing. It's a thing right now. All right, I'll upload it to Nurse Kim Dave Live on YouTube. Go follow that. Go search it. Go follow Nurse Kim's channel. I think it's just Nurse Kim or something, Nurse_Kim. Go watch that Sean McDonough interview. That was fantastic to watch. Whether you agree with Sean or Nurse Kim or not, if you don't, whatever, that's just a good conversation around the case and around the inner workings. And maybe it drives you crazy. Who cares? It was a good conversation. It wasn't crazy or anything. So besides that, I got everything. Monday's live on YouTube. We'll be back, Jen, of course. Megs, thank you for that. Unbelievable joke, by the way. Unbelievable bit out of you. We need more of those. And that's that. Thank you to Ted Daniel. Eventually, if you see this on demand or whatever and are embarrassed by it, I won't blame you whatsoever. I will be appreciative of you. All right.